What if you could see a murder before it happened? In 2002, Steven Spielberg released Minority Report, starring Tom Cruise, one of the most interesting films in his filmography. Let's break down this sci-fi classic.
Man, I really love Minority Report. I think it's one of Spielberg's best of the century. Him and Janusz, some of their best work visually. It's an incredible tale, great adaptation of the Philip K. Dick story. Tom Cruise is at his best. There's just something really special about this film, and I can't wait to dive in this episode. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Raiders of the Lost podcast. We are the ultimate film and TV podcast, and we're doing Minority Report because why the hell not? We friggin' love this movie. I've seen it at least a dozen times. We grew up with it, saw it in theaters with Dad. I was like, these cars are so cool.
They looked really cool.
Fucking sick.
Imagine what they thought. Everyone thought cars were gonna look like,
Yeah.
like sideways, big wheel.
This and
things.
iRobot.
Yeah.
I was waiting for these cars.
Look, anything like that.
Never happened. Never happened.
There's a little bit of technology that never happened in this film,
Yes.
but we'll explore
But
that.
there's plenty they got right. And it's an incredible sci-fi film, but also this is Spielberg at his noriest and also his
Noriest? Not Noriest.
Noriest. And also his weirdest.
Up there.
It's a weird movie. He really went out there with this
funky.
movie. Funky stuff. It's kind of gross stuff in this, like disgusting. He didn't hold back. And it's so different from like what I think a lot of contemporary fans think of what Spielberg is as a filmmaker. He got gritty. This is like his Blade Runner. And
Yeah, in a lot of
it's
ways.
an incredible film, and it's such a feast of visuals, but also big themes. And we have an excellent cast, a great score from John Williams, and then Colin Farrell, early role for him. But this was the first film Spielberg and Tom did together. They did War of the Worlds after this, and I'm just waiting for a third one, man.
I love the craft of this film. I can't wait to talk about the stock of film they used and what they did to give this film this glow with the over lighting of all their sets, which looks terrific. Blowing out the backgrounds and windows and doorways looks terrific. I love the cinematography from Janusz here, as well as these strong themes of free will versus determinism, perfect systems, surveillance in privacy states, characters motivated by grief, others motivated by justice, the ethics of punishing people who've never committed a crime before that crime happens, as well as paradoxes. This movie has several large paradoxes, which I think are so interesting because it all connects to this idea of if someone's going to commit a murder and you can see that murder before it happens, do you have the right to arrest them and put them away in jail for arguably the rest of their life, even though they don't end up committing it because you do stop them before?
And it's a really good screenplay because it balances all those ideas with some electrifying action and a character you really care about and really root for. They did a great job translating all the themes, and it's a very colorful cast of characters. There's some characters like Stormare. I love Peter Stormare in this. I love the actress.
He plays the mad scientist.
Yeah. In Lois, I can't remember her last name off the top of my head. She plays Dr. Hinneman. Her scene, she's in one scene.
The botanist.
Yeah, and she's so amazing on screen for those 10 minutes. It's like my favorite performance in this movie.
You know who it reminded me of? It reminded me of Samantha Morton in The Odyssey, who's also in this film. She plays Agatha the Precog in this film,
Yes.
Samantha Morton. And we all are just glowing about her performance in The Odyssey for one scene.
And Tom
Cruise
Cruise
in this movie?
We were just talking about Brady a few minutes ago. Yeah, we were about the documentary.
Messing with
you.
you.
Don't lie, we were
Messing with you.
And he actually presented Samantha with her Lifetime Achievement Award by the BAFTAs.
Yeah.
And it's because they worked together in this film, and they had a great relationship.
Two-time Oscar nominee. I guarantee she wins an Oscar this year for just that one scene alone. Now I want to set up the film with a synopsis, if that's cool with you.
That is cool.
All right, let's do it. So in 2054, not that far away, guys,
Jesus.
Washington, D.C., a specialized police unit called Precrime uses 3 psychic precogs to foresee and prevent murders before they happen, virtually eliminating homicide in the Washington, D.C. area. Chief John Anderton, played by Tom Cruise, is a dedicated pre-crime officer haunted by the disappearance of his young son, who fully believes in the system. It's why he joined pre-crime. Until the precogs predict that he himself will commit a murder in 36 hours. Forced to go on the run, Anderton races to uncover whether the system is flawed, whether he's being framed, or whether their future is truly inevitable. Along the way, he discovers the existence of suppressed minority reports, dissenting visions from one precog that reveal alternate possible futures and confronts deep corruption within pre-crime. The film ultimately explores free will versus determinism, the dangers of absolute predictive power, and whether a society that sacrifices freedom for perfect safety is worth the cost.
There's so many great lines in this film, and one of my favorite ones is, if it's human, there's a flaw. And that is what Danny Weaver says to John.
Well, he says if there's a flaw, it's human. Reverse it. You mixed it up.
No, I believe he says if it's human, it's a flaw.
He says if there's a flaw, it's human.
Yeah, maybe.
No, he does.
Agree to disagree.
Oh, I'm like, sure, but I tell you the fact.
I agree to
Because he
disagree.
says if there's a flaw, I'll find it. And if there's a flaw, it's because it's a human flaw.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, because it's a human.
Well, pre-crime's not human. So
No, the precogs are human.
no, they're not. They're more than human,
They're special.
technically.
Can you tell the audience about that awesome poster behind you?
Oh, this awesome poster. It's from movieposters.com. It's Sinners. Great movie from Ryan Coogler. Double-sided print, which is movie theater quality because when you put it in a light box like this one from movieposters.com, it just pops and it glows. We have a coupon code with the company. It's Raiders10 at checkout. Raiders10 gets you 10% off your order. We also have an affiliate link with movieposters.com. It's in the podcast description of this episode. You click that link, it lets them know you got there because of us. So then you do your browsing, click the link, find whatever poster your heart desires, deck out your bedroom, your office, your living room, whatever, with all of your favorite prints, all your favorite characters and titles. Movieposters.com today.
This is a great balance of sci-fi and with a hint of fantasy in the fantastical.
Sure.
In terms of the precogs having premonition abilities. You're going into fantasy territory, but it still fits in the sci-fi world. We've seen stuff like that in sci-fi a lot. But naturally born with these abilities. And it's a great balance because Spielberg hasn't done fantastical that much. Hook's obviously the most fantastical thing he's ever done. But this toes the line just barely enough, but it's heavy sci-fi. Mostly sci-fi. It's really, really gritty. The themes are so present in our lives. And this was made before smartphones. The internet was still in its very early days when this movie came out. And obviously we were joking about the cars earlier, but there's a lot of other things in this film that, are pretty close to what became a reality or what we can see happening in the near future. And mostly in terms of, and it makes sense, the location of DC, because DC doesn't operate like a state. I mean, it operates like a state, and it's not a state. It's the city, but it would make sense that that's where something like this would happen, rather than an entire state with a really big population.
It's kind of like a mini country.
And it's a representation of, like, government is there, and this is a whole Orwellian kind of tale. So I like how it's set in DC. It makes sense that DC would maybe test something like this in reality.
And also came out in 2002. And one of the main themes scientifically and technologically in the film is surveillance. And 1 year removed from 9/11 in 2001, this movie takes place in Washington, D.C., and is about a surveillance country using, or a city using technology to surveil. And, there's a lot of technology in this film that's present in our lives today. Not exactly facial recognition, but eye scan recognition and eye cornea recognition is such a fascinating concept that absolutely happens today in our world.
Pat, we go through international travel. You're not scanning your passport. You're just scanning your face now.
Exactly. Your face gets scanned pretty much every store you're in. Your face is getting scanned. Traffic lights, your face is getting scanned. Your eyes are getting scanned. So I thought that was really interesting. But, they don't lean too much into it in terms of the state and the fear of the state watching people so much outside of pre-crime, which is something that the film could have gone in that direction. It might have gotten over-bloated in scale if they did that. I like how they still contained it to just pre-crime and what's going on with this police units versus like you could scale it to the entire government of the whole nation, and then you have a whole different movie on your hands. But there are nuggets of that, and it's happening in the real world in this reality.
You have the vote coming up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The vote coming up to keep pre-crime alive, but also eye scan recognition, not just for identity, but also marketing needs. You walk inside of a mall, eye scans remember who you are. Invasion of privacy is massive in this world too. John's on the run later in the film, and pre-crime unit think he might be in this building, and they go check it out, and so they send those little spiders in. The spiders invade every person's privacy in that building, and they all comply because that's the world they live in. So invasion of privacy is seems to be the norm for the government and for police in this world as well. So there's a lot of technology that predicted a lot of things that some are coming true, some not so much, but the idea, very 1984 as well, Orwellian, that we're being watched constantly, absolutely true.
I think that Christopher Nolan is a big fan of this movie.
Oh, yeah, that's your why.
Because it opens with a Nolan-esque kind of opening. You have a very complex technology or concept, and like Nolan does in many of his films, he opens with a sequence showing the rules of the world that you're about to enter. And Spielberg and his writer did the same thing with this, where it opens with the precog vision and some beautiful editing and cinematography and visual effects work. And then it turns into, we're getting the balls dropping from the little tunnels, the little shafts, and we're getting the rules immediately, and it's not being laid out exactly into detail for us. When Danny comes into play, we're getting a little bit more exposition, but they're doing a great job in the opening of the film of showing us how the world works, not explaining with words.
Not yet, yeah.
And it's so well crafted. The first 10 minutes of this movie, it's the vision, and then we have Tom Cruise's shuffling through that amazing, iconic screen. It's like this unbelievable. I remember being a kid just being blown away by the cool screen, the Tony Stark kind of setup.
Well, you keep saying things that Spielberg did first.
Yes.
Like it's a Chris Nolan scene, but Spielberg did
Exactly,
it first.
yeah,
It's a Tony
yeah.
Stark scene, but Spielberg did it
100%,
first.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I understand what you mean, though.
Yeah.
I think the first 10 minutes of this movie is outstanding as well. That first act of this is the world, because we're getting such great exposition through a day in the life of these characters, which is how a lot of screenplays are structured. You know, you get a day in the life of the first 10, 15 minutes. That's how you do your first act. Generally, day in the life of John Anderton, but also from the perspective of a perpetrator of pre-crime.
Yes.
Of this man whose wife is having an affair. He suspects something. He skips work and watches her lover come into the house and goes to try to kill them with the knife. But at the same time, and before that, we're seeing the balls drop from pre-crime. Pre-crime became a man that day. Became a day. The balls roll out of the pre-crime unit, etched with the names of the victims and the perpetrator.
Great.
And we see, like you said, John going through the program, going through the slides, trying to take these memories of the future, really, which is what they're fragments of the future, of what the precogs have shown them, and try to decipher where's the location, who's the killer, who are the victims, how do we get there, how much time do we have? And they have like less than 30 minutes.
And it's very important. This one goes wrong. They do two things with this job, with this particular case. First of all, it doesn't go as planned, because when they track down, okay, this is the right guy. We nabbed him from a photo ID. Here's the address. Right before they take off, that house got bulldozed. They don't live there anymore. Now we have to find out where this location is based upon the surrounding environment. And then John figures out, oh, there's a playground right outside. It's got to be that neighborhood. Then they get to that neighborhood, and they're like, which house is it? So a bunch of things go wrong in this, which I think is important, because there's like this never-ending, incredible conflict and rising action and obstacles in the first case, which keeps this opening act feeling so propulsive and engaging. And you're like, oh my God. And then also, it's so important for the audience in this case to show that John stopped the killer a second before he was going to commit the act. Because if they had arrested him when he was just sitting on the floor crying, or when it revealed that he had the scissors, it's like questionable, like maybe he wouldn't have gone through with it. But when he was literally in the stabbing motion, about to stab his wife, it shows for the audience how exacting and how precise the precognition is, because they were right. He was about to kill his wife because he was literally in the act of it. So it was important to show just barely saving them in time, just in the last second.
Well, it also, yeah, it's a great point, because it gets us on the side of pre-crime.
Yes.
And we believe in pre-crime. After this opening scene, you're like, pre-crime is great.
Yeah.
Pre-crime has dropped murders. There hasn't been a murder in 6 years in Washington, D.C. After the first month, 9% of murders disappeared from the city. So you're absolutely right. The first 10 minutes of the movie.
Can you say that again?
Absolutely right, Anthony. First 10 minutes of the movie, you are on pre-crime side because the script and the story pulls the carpet from under you until you start to understand the corruption inside pre-crime and also this great paradox of not only being able to manipulate the system from the inside to hide murders, which is what happens later on, but the paradox of if you know what your future is, you have the free will to change it. So will you? And that's one of the great paradoxes of John Anderton's story arc throughout the rest of the film. And it's a brilliant first act because, like you said, showing us exposition, not telling us yet, showing us with the actions of pre-crime and then what's happening at the same time. Colin Farrell's character, who they call, I think they called the twink from Justice.
Internal Affairs.
No,
yeah.
from Justice.
Yeah.
Someone calls him the twink from Justice.
Danny Weaver.
Whitwer. Danny Whitwer.
Whitwer?
When was the last time you watched the movie?
2 days ago.
Are you sure about that?
I did.
It's Whitwer.
I'm sorry I didn't write down his name.
I thought you saw this movie dozens of times and you grew up with it in your childhood, Anthony.
Whitwer. Why did I think Weaver?
I don't know. Danny Whitwer is here acting as a representative from the District Attorney of the United States to sort of clear and check out pre-crime, to see what's going on, to see if everything is happening legally. And he is the surrogate audience for us discovering, we've seen what pre-crime is. You can deduce for yourself what it is. It's pretty obvious. But then dialogue, exposition given to Danny.
Well done.
And the questions he asks, very subtly, very minimal, to get a little more detail of what pre-crime and precogs are.
Having the fish out of water allows for the exposition to flow out naturally and not feel force-fed for the audience.
Yeah.
And Colin Farrell, early in his career, have you ever seen the interview of the story of how Tom didn't like working with him?
No.
So they were filming in the middle.
Tom Cruise didn't like working with Colin Farrell?
Yeah, but for a good reason. So middle of filming of production, and then Colin Farrell's birthday was coming up, and he asked the production if he could have a day off for his birthday. And Colin's a great guy, and he's self-deprecating. And in the interview, he's like, "Can you believe I fucking asked that?" He's like, "Can you believe I asked?" He's like, "I can't believe I did
Who
that."
do I think I am?
Yeah, exactly. That's what he said. But he asked, "Can I have the day off for my birthday?" And they're like, "Fuck no, absolutely
Everyone
not."
works on their birthday.
Yeah. So then, but he still went out and got blasted that night of his birthday, and he comes in the next morning hungover, and he was so hungover, and the makeup and producers were like, "You can't come to set like this. You look like shit." So he's like, "Get me some beers," because it was the only thing that will stop the hangover immediately is having some more alcohol. So he had them get him some beers and then lots of makeup and stuff. But it's this scene where he says some very high-tech jargon, and he couldn't. So it's a oneer where it's the debate with him and the crew, and it's a nice
Is
oneer.
it when Tom rolls the ball off the
Right
table?
before that, it's right before that moment, and it's him with the guys, and he says some very intellectual jargon, and he said he kept messing it up, and he said 27 takes.
27 takes?
Yes, 27 takes, and slowing down production, and he said Tom was so disappointed. And he's like, he was heartbroken. He's like, "Oh my God." And then Tom was just like, Tom was very unhappy about it.
Tom's a consummate professional.
Yeah.
I've met him. I've worked with him before. I have. I can say that.
But Colin is great.
He's fantastic.
Because the thing is, he has so much natural talent and charisma, and he does so much in his roles, even at such a young age, early in his career. He's got this fiery, feisty, charming persona who's a dick, and he knows he's a dick, but he loves it. And he's there to poke the bear, basically, and he does it so well, and it contrasts incredibly well off of the John Anderton stoic, grieving, hardened man. And it's interesting because John Anderton, and it's the first scene he has with Lamar, where he's like a loyal soldier to Lamar, and everything Lamar says, he says, "Yes, sir, I understand, absolutely." And he's literally as loyal as one can be, and everything gets stripped away when the conspiracy is being uncovered, and eventually we find out who the big bad is. But it's a great contrast of characters.
Yeah, Lamar has this great line to John where he says, "The things that people believe in, choose them." And so pre-crime, he's saying, chose you, John. And John accepted pre-crime into his life because he wanted to prevent anything that happened to his son again. from happening to anyone else. Now, let's go a little more broadly over the cast, over the story, some themes I'd love to talk about. Now, John Anderton is the elite pre-crime officer. He's the chief. They all call him the chief. And he lost his son 6 years before, at a pool in a public scenario, a public scene. His son was kidnapped and presumed dead, obviously. So he deals with the grief of that. His wife left him because of it, because every time she looked at John, she saw Sean, their son. And he's also a neuroin addict, the popular drug of this world, which connects to precogs, which we'll get into in a minute. Neuroin. So not heroin, but neuroin. It's the heroin of this era, of this world. John is a character who's so fueled by grief, like you said, he's a loyal soldier to Lamar Burgess, played by the brilliant Max von Sydow, who is Anderton's mentor and the public face of pre-crime, who saw the potential of what precogs could do and help use them in very, you could argue, unsavory ways as tools to this pre-crime division. You know, these people, the precogs, are in a state of lucid sleep, constant from drugs.
It's best not to think of them as human.
Yeah.
Anderton says.
They're constantly filled with dopamines and relaxants. They're not asleep, they're not awake, they just exist and they just have their vision. So it's pretty messed up what they're used for. But Lamar, played by Max, is such a great character, and Max brings such gravitas to every performance he is, whether it's his deep baritone voice and the way he articulates and the pacing of his words. He's a large guy. His figure with other characters, his stature is massive. Like when he stands in front of John's wife at the end of the film when she is tying his bow, and he
one of my favorite
moves the
scenes.
chair and stands in front of her, an imposing figure.
I love that
big
scene.
guy, big head, big hands. So he's just like a great villain, and I think Max is just so terrific in this movie. He's such a great manipulator. Agatha, played by Samantha Morton, terrific, the most gifted of the precogs, treated more, like I said, like a component to a piece of technology than a person, which is a really kind of disgusting thing when you watch the film. When you see it over and over again, you see like they don't treat them like humans. They act like they're gods, and people bow to them when they're in their presence, which is so ironic because when you go to the pre-crime lab, they are just trapped inside this little pool forever. They have no way of getting out. Danny Whitworth, Colin Farrell, we've been talking about, ambitious, Justice Department, antagonistic, but becomes a very complex and terrific character as he starts to investigate the crime in the homicide that they suspect John Anderton carried out on Lee Crow, because we learned he used to be a homicide detective. So he's like one of the only people in the city that has detecting experience, which is so fascinating.
You know what we call this? An orgy of evidence.
You know how many orgies of evidence I had in my career? None. We have great performances also from Peter Stormare. Oh, he's
Old
fantastic.
reliable.
Dr. Solomon P. Eddy. This back alley surgeon who replaces John's eyes is very ambiguous of what he's going to do to him, because we learn while he's drugged that John put him away for crime.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to know that part of myself.
Catherine Morris is Laura Anderton, his wife, John's wife, as well as, like you said, Lois Smith as Dr. Iris Hyman. That's a great scene.
She's
What
so
a terrific
good.
Scene.
Unbelievable.
So great. Neil McDonough as Gordon Fletcher he's always a regular in a bunch of movies. So overall, the cast.
Tim Blake Nelson's
fantastic. Yeah. The cast is superb in this movie, and obviously Tom is Tom. But I gotta say, this is one of my favorite performances in his entire career. I love where he starts with John and where he ends up. Very controlled, like you said, stoic soldier. Then a troubled personal life in his home. He's a different person when he's home. He just takes Neuroin and lives the memories of his past, of his son. To the point where once everything spirals, he becomes a fighter and a survivor and trying to figure out what's going on. And he just dials it up every 10 minutes to a different number.
Everybody runs.
Everybody runs, Fletch.
Fucking love it.
So the cast is superb, guys.
Incredible cast. And the cinematography of this movie is just unbelievable.
Talk about the cinematography? Let's do it.
I love so many of the shots in this film. The inserts, everything from the inserts to great use of reflections. One of my favorite shots is when Danny's looking down at the temple, and the shot of we're looking at the pane of glass, and they're reflected behind Colin Farrell's head, who's on the other side of the pane of glass, and it's extraordinary shot. And then also the great use with the digital screens. There's one shot where, and I haven't caught it, but this one I really took note of it. It's when John's crazily hunting through all the footage of his future crime. He's going nuts, and there's this great shot of he's just staring with disbelief at the screen, and then the reflection of him on the screen saying goodbye, Crow, shooting the gun, is reflected on half of his face.
Yeah.
And it has this two-face vibe, and it's just unbelievable. It's so exquisite. The filmmaking, great use of low angles, super high contrast. Let's talk about that film stock. What did they do, Jim?
Well, first of all, let's talk about who shot this movie. Longtime cinematographer, collaborator, Janusz Kaminski, who's been working with Spielberg for decades now. He's shot a lot of his movies. Spielberg explicitly told Kaminski, I wanted to make the ugliest, dirtiest movie either of them had ever made. Gritty, desaturated, rather than sleek, glamorous sci-fi, which is really common. It's kind of like what Star Wars, with the style and production design, when Spielberg's like, I want dirty sci-fi. Same kind of thing here. Let's go gritty, dirty, desaturated sci-fi. And to get that natural high, the natural noir look, high contrast, washed out colors, deep blacks, blown out highlights, visible grain throughout the entire film, even the opening logos. It's cold, it's clinical, but it matches the themes of the film so well, as well as the world that everyone's living in. It feels like it's almost like at times it feels like Seven, where it feels like the sky's always cloudy and it's always raining, but there are plenty of sequences of sun though, of course. And people have described this film as looking like it's been shot on chrome. It's just glowing in silver and metallic in a lot of ways. And they did this through a very specific bleach bypass process done at Technicolor, where they took the film stock and bleach bypassed it. This was the foundation of the film. What this does is it reduces color saturation by about 40%, boosts the contrast, creates crisp black shadows, and produces that brilliant overexposed highlights coming through the windows, coming through the doorways. You know, John runs outside of a building one time. You can't even see what's going on outside. It's glowing. It's just glowing lights. Now, they used film stocks for grain and texture. They used Kodak Vision 800T, an older EXR 5293
Hence
stock.
the grain.
Yeah, to get that grain, that patina. It's a rough look rather than the cleaner digital aesthetic and even just sharper film stocks. Lenses went really wide with this film, almost completely wide angle with these lenses. They a 17 millimeter was their main lens, as well as a 21 millimeter and a 27 millimeter. And
They were doing close-ups on the super wide.
Spielberg has actors close to the camera the whole film.
I fucking love it.
You're right in their faces.
It's the deep focus, man.
Yeah. What that does, it brings you in the immersion. Like you said, slight distortion as well, but also the paranoia that the characters feel, especially John throughout many sequences in this movie. The camera's right in his face, and you're feeling that paranoia as well. And then the lighting's fantastic. Like we said, strong, overexposed lighting. Tons of haze in this film, too, as well. And a lot of visual effects. A lot of VFX on set as well. Minority Report is actually the first ever digital set in terms of being able to create 3D virtual environments on set, which obviously is so common these days, as well as especially in the pre-production phase. But James Cameron, most famously, the way he shoots his Avatar films is in a 3D virtual production. But Minority Report was the first film to use digital created environments live on set to have actors act on stage and with blue screens behind them all around them, because a lot of this film is visual effects heavy.
Yeah, I'd say a few of the notable scenes, and they look great. Obviously, the big chase scene on the freeway, but also the finale, Lamar versus John on that balcony. Beautiful visual effects of DC in the background, and they have the huge memorial in the background. You're like, oh my god, it looks incredible. That must have been a digital set.
Washington Monument.
Thank you, Washington Monument.
Yeah, the big toothpick out there.
And in this movie,
it was in Spider-Man 2.
this movie has incredible wonders, which I want to talk about in a sec. But I think that this movie does have one of the best shots in the careers of Spielberg and Kaminski, and that's the two shot of Samantha Morton and Tom Cruise looking opposite ways, holding each other. Her face is cast in light, and his face is cast in darkness with a light as an edge. But her eyes are looking up into the light, and it's such just a beautifully simplistic shot. And they start wide and they push it in that moment as they're and that's how they play that dialogue for that scene. And that's I've seen this movie so many times, and then the other night I'm watching it and I was just like, that shot is just so perfect.
Don't you love how long they linger on it?
Yes, dude.
He lingers on it for maybe 8 seconds.
Yeah, it's so good. It's unbelievable.
It ended up becoming one of the main poster shots too.
Yeah.
It's
And
fantastic.
It's great use of wonders. There's a wonder early in the film, like we said, talking about debating the idea of precog and precognition and fate, and the way he's framing those scenes, that amazing overhead wonder of the spiders entering the apartment building in that one floor, and Spielberg's doing this great overhead crane shot tracking above all these apartments. But then not just that, but they're dropping down into the apartments, and we're literally entering their homes, just like the government is entering their homes. We're not just seeing just an overhead. We're going in there. We're seeing what these homes are like. This is played for laughs and for drama. It's so great. It's an incredible use of filmmaking and just scattering all these people, and the production design's outstanding. So many great wonders. And did you get an Indiana Jones vibe on this rewatch?
I mean,
so the chase and fight.
Sure, yeah. The fight, yeah.
Indiana Jones vibe. Colin Farrell, Tom Cruise on top of the container.
Inside the
fist
warehouse.
fighting. And also just like the use of how Indy will use the environment for set pieces and stunt pieces. I never got the Indy vibe watching this movie, but that chasing and then the fight, I was like, this sequence is absolutely Indy coded.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. It's Spielberg coded, but Indy coded at the same time.
And John's music.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, a lot of Spielberg movies seem to be Indy coded at times. Yeah. But absolutely, and that's one of my favorite sequences. This movie, as grounded as it feels in its filmmaking in terms of simple locations that just have great production design and just really interesting lighting, the set pieces are epic.
Yeah.
Absolutely epic. Some of the best of Spielberg's career, like you said, that overhead shot. But also, I gotta say, one of my favorite scenes when it comes to action set pieces has to be the alleyway jetpack sequence. Now, this was one of the most impressive stunts I think I've seen in a Spielberg movie.
There's so little CGI in this.
They actually built this location. So they built, let me pull it up. I have some information on that alleyway.
I can't wait to hear about this information.
Let me pull. Okay,
you got it.
here we go.
What'd you search? Huh? Would you command F search?
Alley.
And
my Google Doc took me right to it. Now, this alleyway jetpack scene in Minority Report, mostly practical on a custom Warner Brothers backlot set, with ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, providing a ton of CGI cleanup and enhancements to this incredible scene. This is when John runs from pre-crime, gets cornered by all of the pre-crime officers with their jetpacks, which there's got to be a high injury rate for this division, man. Jeez, holy shit. Now, they really built this alley that was practically wired up for all these stunts. So a 3 to 4 story alley, digitally extended to look like 12 stories, required an enormous overhead truss and wire system with miles of wires. It let 6 to 8 performers, including Tom Cruise, on many high jumps and falls going up and down, fly independently at varying speeds and heights, with the camera also rigged for dynamic moves. The hoverpacks were practical props. Wires provided all flight. CGI torches.
All the fire's going to be fire. The fire looked amazing.
And ILM did a ton of the work, was removing all the wires and all of the rigging and extending those buildings, extending the skies, extending the alleyway, all the flames, the heat distortion from the jetpacks. But most of what you see in terms of being in shot and camera was really done there, and it's really incredible.
Great stunt work, and I love when they're going through the building. I love when they're crashing through floors. Spielberg does a great job in this film of balancing humor with these sequences. There's a lot of great moments. Yeah, a lot of great moments of comedy.
Like when they're inside the apartment and John's attached to the guy with the hoverpack, and they just go over a grill of burgers and they sizzle up the burgers.
I love that shot.
It's so funny.
It's great. It cracks me up. And then the dining table on the next floor, and their table jumps up. They're like, what the fuck? And then they crash through. There's some great comedy in this film. It really does work.
So I think that's probably, the best set piece when it comes to action in the film.
Something that always stuck with me was the car on the freeway, because it still holds up. Visual effects look outstanding, and this is where John kicks through the windshield, and then because I love the way they designed the world in the city, where the freeway literally normal freeway, cars are all driving on tracks, and then it drops down a 90-degree angle, and now they're going down. And I always thought that was so cool. And then we have this great set piece of him jumping down onto cars, lower levels of cars, and it's so much fun. It visually looks so stunning. And then he crash lands into a yoga class. Yeah, all these ladies are like bent over upside down. Oh my God, are you okay?
It's pretty funny.
It's so funny.
I love the technology in science fiction films that are set in the future. And it's always interesting to see what filmmakers and their teams come up with, what to do. Whether you're talking about 2001: A Space Odyssey and the tech that they're predicting, which came true, like FaceTime. They're doing that in 2001: A Space Odyssey. And it's always interesting to see movies in our era, or movies that we watched growing up that came out like in this 2002, 2000s, like what did they predict that got right? Now, Spielberg, being a very smart guy that he is, after E.T., he started consulting more and more experts and putting more scientific research into his films, especially the science fiction ones like this. So in 1999, he invited 15 experts convened by Peter Schwartz and Stuart Brand to a hotel in Santa Monica for this film to have a 3-day think tank about the movie, but about the world building and the tech world building. He wanted to consult with the group to create a plausible future reality for the year 2054 back in 1999, mind you. And he wanted to do this to oppose more traditional science fiction settings and really just like, let's figure out what actually seems plausible to happen in 55 years. They dubbed this the Think Tank Summit. Experts included architect Peter Calthorpe, author Douglas Coupland, urbanist and journalist Joel Garreau, computer scientist Neil Gershenfeld, biomedical researcher Sean Jones, computer scientist Jaron Lanier, and former MIT architecture Dean J. Mitchell. Production designer Alex McDowell kept what was nicknamed the 2054 Bible, an 80-page guide created in pre-production which listed all the aspects of the future world: architectural, socioeconomic, political, and technological. Unfortunately, now this happens with AI in pre-production, but this is amazing. You have all these experts in their fields. Imagine, again, not just like tech that people use every day, but like what, like you said, the highway system, what cars would look like, what roads would look like. We have roads that go 90-degree angle down, but also sideways. Mm-hmm. What would buildings look like? What kind of technology would we have? Like the eye scan technology, like digital newspapers. I think the funniest thing about this movie is that they thought people would still be reading newspapers in 2054. I don't know if they'll exist in 30 years. As well as the VR realities and VR fantasies. Yeah. Very similar to Ready Player One, a Spielberg film as well, that he directed in 2018. I think the VR fantasy sequence is really fascinating because they paint a world in this movie where with technology, you can escape your reality more common in your day-to-day life, like we all do every single day when we're on our smartphones, which is kind of ironic.
Now, since this is a noir...
Well, Colin, can we stay on technology?
Yeah.
There's a lot more technology I'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'd like to talk about the Precogs.
Yes.
Now, who are the Precogs? How were the Precogs created? What's their origin? Why are they so special? So Precogs, they weren't built in a lab. They weren't made by scientists, but they are the result of drugs, of the specific drug in this world, neuroin. So they are the severely mutated children of neuroin addicts, a powerful illegal drug, one that John Anderton takes every day when he gets home from work to help enhance watching the memories of his son to numb the pain of his loss.
But this was a dirtier strain back in the day.
Exactly. So this is a dirtier strain of neuroin, and the drug caused profound... No, not necessarily. Was it? Yeah. The drug caused profound brain damage and genetic mutations in the unborn children of addicts, giving them the ability to see future murders. The government identified these children after they were born, took custody of them, and developed a pre-crime system around their abilities. Sound kind of similar to Stranger Things or what? They are kept sedated in a nutrient...
That happens a lot.
...rich milk bath.
That happens a lot.
They're kept sedated in that nutrient-rich milk bath.
And these are the three survivors.
Yep, the three siblings. The temple connected to a brain-computer interface that extracts and projects their visions. Agatha, the woman, the female, is the most powerful of the three. The other two are twin brothers. They're good at their job, but they're not Agatha. And they can't really function without Agatha. Their origins are treated as a dark secret of the system, exploited humans rather than engineered beings, but they're professed to the rest of the world like they're godlike heroes of murder victims. And so I think that's a really interesting correlation where humanity ended up creating godlike beings, but how do they treat them? They exploit them.
And there's the tour happening outside of the Precog division, and the tour guide says, we can't show you them, but you can get a sense for what their lives are like, because the public, if they saw what was happening to these three innocent people, how they're being used and basically kept from living a life and used as tools, it's so inhumane. So something great has been built out of something horrible in how they basically have trapped these three innocent people in this state of perpetuity.
Yeah. Some more tech, the eye scanning, the biometrics and surveillance, all connected, not just eye scanning, but also heat signatures, invasion of privacy with those spiders like later in the film. But the constant identifying and scanning of people in public places is throughout this film, and it's such a normalcy in this world. It's so scary to watch that people, that overhead sequence where the camera's tracking over the apartments. Mm-hmm. We have a couple that are fighting. We have some guy taking a shit. We have some other guy like in a bath. Everyone's just going about their lives, but these spiders just crawl into their apartments. They stop what they're doing abruptly, get their eyes scanned, then go back to their day-to-day lives. Billboards, storefronts, everything's scanning you, creating a custom advertisement for you right on the spot.
You know what the most terrifying piece of technology in this movie for me is?
What?
The prison.
Yeah.
The prison where inmates and people who have been arrested through the Precog division are put within this locked tubing, and they're basically sedated. And it's not, I like how they don't explicitly say what's going on inside each of their tubes, but you can imagine they're being shown all sorts of crazy imagery. And then Tim Blake Nelson's character, you get a hint of it. He says, "Oh, it looks like they're peacefully just standing there, but inside, busy, busy, busy." So in a way, everybody's trapped within their own mind without a way to escape, and then physically locked.
Kind of like the Matrix.
It's terrifying, and then it's like the Matrix fields of these pods. And for me, whenever I see that, I'm like, that's terrifying to be in a fate like that.
Well, in those Halo devices they don't use restraints when they are arresting somebody. The pre-crime units, they use Halo devices, these circular head restraints applied during an arrest. They render their wearer fully incapacitated for long-term containment, and they induce them in a suspended animation-like state.
My favorite shot from the movie, it's during the first arrest, and they grab the guy, the husband, and then Giannis and Steven, first name basis, they frame it with the halo right in front of the camera, and it's moving with the actors in the background, always keeping him in the center of the halo as he's being dragged out of the scene, and he's screaming, "Don't put that halo on me! Don't put it on me!" And it's a moment where they're showing visually how imposing this device is, and then the guy begging not to have it put on his head. You don't even know what it's going to do. It's your first time watching the movie. You're like, I don't even know what this fucking thing is, but it seems horrifying.
Jetpacks, they didn't exactly get on the nose. Hey, we have 30 years left to get to this point, so maybe we'll have hover packs and jetpacks. Autonomous driving vehicles, though.
Yep.
That's a thing that exists today in our world right now. There are crazy technology of cars driving themselves. We also have, I like the weaponry of the pre-crime unit. I like that sort of concussion force gun, an energy
propulsive
weapon.
Thing.
Yeah, the energy weapon, non-lethal kinetic blasts, knocks people over or objects. John uses it in a really cool way. He's like a gunslinger with that thing. We also have
the memory holograms are great.
Yeah, so exactly. What I love about the pre-crime unit, like you talked about earlier, this screen in this software that John uses to scrub through memories, basically. This gesture-based holographic interfaces. I remember when this came out, people thought that gesture-based technology was going to boom. Back like 10 years ago, people thought it was going to boom as well. It just didn't really take off, gesture-based things. Like some devices you can do it, but just the technology died out because no one really wanted to use it. But I love the way it's used in this film. I think it's just such a brilliant, fun thing.
And then also the holograms, the memory holograms that John has in his home. And there's that tragic scene where he watches the hologram video of his son running, and then the hologram of his wife. And another one of my favorite shots is the hologram of his wife is standing there talking, like joking about turning the camera off. And then John stands up and faces her. And then they take the camera and they don't cut, but they track around the hologram. And then it's like we're seeing this flat image of light speaking to John. And it's just a beautiful image of a human being trying to connect with a piece of digital technology.
Also, what's so fascinating about this film, it's so well thought out. I've never read the book, so I don't know if they do this in the book. I'm sure it's part of the novel, where anytime there are strict laws put on people by governments or behavior that is illegal, or for example, if your eyes are getting scanned constantly, the black market's going to offer you a solution. And the black market in this world can get you eye transplants, which is such an interesting concept. Surgical replacement of eyes to create new biometric identities so that people can evade scanners to become new people. Your eye scan is your identity in this world. Mm-hmm. Your eyes are you. And I love how Spielberg leans into the eyes so often, not just with the intimacy of the close-up shots of the cinematography, but also literally using eyes as props multiple times, whether it's when John goes to the surgeon or even later on when Lara, she uses the eyes after she breaks into the prison facility, and he's like, how did you get in here? You don't have authorized, you're not authorized. And she said, I want to speak with my husband. Then she drops his eye on the piano.
On the organ.
On the organ.
Plus the close-ups of the Agatha's eyes, especially in the opening of the film, very Blade Runner-esque. Great use of eyes as an idea of vision, seeing the future. Incredible use of the visual motif.
Love that. So, I mean, that's pretty much all the big tech stuff.
Now, it's a noir.
Noir.
You need a mystery. The mystery is what happened to Anne Lively. So,
well, not till later on in the film.
But I'm saying it is the mystery of not just John trying to figure out the mystery of why would he kill somebody in 36 hours, but also that chain of events starts because Agatha shows him the mysterious vision of a murder and of a dead woman. And then this starts his investigation, going to Tim Blake Nelson's character, investigating this tapes. And then Agatha's version of events is missing, which is very odd. It's odd.
Yeah, well, in the tapes show that the killer was taken away and the woman survived.
Yes. Arrested. But that leads this chain of events.
Well, yeah, because we learned from him that every precog gives their own interpretation of the future, and it's all connected. Usually they all see the same thing, but then there's that minority report, which is always a different reality, which connects to the paradox of the film. Now, there's so much complexity to this film. We can talk about it for literally hours and hours. But I just love the overall mystery of who is this mystery woman, but also, as an audience member, you can't believe that John's going to kill somebody. But John's in this great paradox where after his ball falls out of the machine, he catches it first.
Oh my God, this scene's so good.
Now he has to gather as much evidence as he can. And he has to go on the run now. He has to understand, he knows his reaction to this happening, we think he's been set up as well. Obviously, he's been set up. Who's set him up, though? That's the mystery. The mystery is real for me. It's who set up John, because then that's connected to this woman later on. But who set John up for murder? Who framed him for this murder? Who put him in this position to be able to commit a crime?
I love this scene, and I love one of my favorite moments of acting from Colin Farrell in the film is when John goes in the elevator. He's got 2 minutes till the alarm goes off, and he's trying to play it off like nothing happened. And then Danny gets into the elevator and they start shit talking and they're misunderstanding each other. Danny found the Neuroin in his apartment, and that's why he's like, I got you by the balls, man. But then John's thinking, oh, you know that I'm on the screen. And then when it is revealed, and then Danny goes, I don't hear a red ball.
Well, he takes his gun out.
Yeah, he takes his gun out. He's like, what, are you going to kill me, John? He said, I don't hear a red ball. Then, and then Danny's like, oh, fuck, you kill me right now. It's a great moment of acting, and this very minimal, but I loved it. It's great.
That same kind of thing is used later on, where
When?
the exact opposite. Well, the exact same situation happens.
Yeah.
Where obviously we're 50 minutes in, so if you haven't seen this movie, guys, stuff's going to get spoiled. So Danny's faced with another person with a gun.
Yes. Yeah.
And that person, yeah. So it happens twice to Danny.
Yes.
In the second time, ends with his death. And it's overall this great mystery of who set up John? Are they connected to his missing son? And who's this woman who, this new vision that John's discovered, got killed, drowned. In the other visions, she survived, but in this vision, she drowned. It's none other than the face behind Pre-Crime. Lamar Burgess, played by Max von Sydow, is the conspirator against John. Why did this conspiracy start? Because John was asking questions about this memory. And obviously, someone tipped off Lamar about it. And Lamar set up the chain of events to use the one thing that could push John to murder: the discovery of the man who took his son.
If you go digging in the past, all you get is dirty.
And it's such a clever plan.
Yeah, it's great.
It's brilliant.
Lamar's really smart.
Just like how he manipulated the system.
Yeah, genius plan, but also he's a really interesting villain because he cares so much about the Precogs system, and that's what's always motivated him, of creating justice and creating a world without murder. But ironically, in order to do that, you have to commit murder.
You don't have to, but it happened to him.
Yeah.
Because what happened in the past was Lamar had these precogs, and Agatha's the special one.
Yeah.
And Agatha's mother was an addict, and Lamar was able to get control of the child and turn her into a tool for pre-crime. However, Agatha's mother, after she got clean, wanted her daughter back. So the only thing that Lamar could do to keep pre-crime alive, to keep Agatha stuck in this world of constant visions, is he had to kill Anne Lively, Agatha's mother. He had to kill her. He devised a brilliant plan. Like we said, the minority reports are key. The minority report is what everyone thought was an after tremor, in a way, an echo of the other visions, which usually happens on a normal murder, but it's just a little different interpretation of the events.
And they show that when Danny's there, we get the rule.
Yeah, although that presents the opportunity of a different future. And what if something's been tampered with?
What if you commit the murder in the exact same way the precogs saw it? Only then, just then, you can do it.
So like, you have to be someone high up, close to the...
Danny, tell me what you're thinking, Danny.
So what Lamar did was he hired a neuron addict to kill Anne Lively.
And then we see him in prison.
And then he tells him how to do it. You're going to drown her in this lake. You're going to wear this outfit. And so he pays him to do it. The guy's desperate, probably, and also has no connections to anything. So he goes. What happens is pre-crime saves her. Anne Lively is saved from this murder. They take the guy away. He's gone. However, because Lamar Burgess knows how to manipulate the system and knows that he can hide the actual murder in the minority report, which will come after, everyone will dismiss the minority report as, oh, it looks exactly the same. We already got the guy. It's all good. Just delete it. So after she's saved and everyone from pre-crime leaves, kind of a loophole. Why don't they take her away? Hey, are you okay? We should check your vitals.
You're not going to book it or write any information down. What's your name?
Exactly.
There's two loopholes in this movie.
Yeah, so then he puts on the exact same outfit, and then he drowns Anne Lively the exact same way he instructed the other man to do it. So that man would have killed Anne Lively if pre-crime didn't stop him, but now Lamar gets to kill Anne Lively for real, and also hide it in the Minority Report, which will get deleted because it looks exactly as the same vision.
And Agatha's the one who saw that murder, and the twins didn't.
And it's stuck inside of her, and she's trying to get it out to John.
So there's two little plot holes in this film.
That's that plot hole?
That's one of them.
Why don't they stay with her?
Yeah, like because any kind of attempted crime, they're gonna like interview you and
we saved you, lady. Have a great day.
One of them like is like, you good? Okay, bye.
He like thumbs up her.
So that's one. And then there is one other plot hole, and it's just like I just think there's no way to get to here faster. And it's the maker of the keyboard, the crazy guy at the VR facility.
Sure.
Danny's like, all these parts are custom made. He takes apart the keyboard, pulls open this guy's photo ID and name. He's like, who's this guy? And then it leads them right to the VR place. I think that was a point where how do we get them there to stop, to create urgency for John when he gets there? And that's a moment where I was like, it's a little too easy to get to the VR facility.
The way it is, how it's just like, you can understand that John probably has a Rolodex of connections in shady places. He's a
Stormare says that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no, Hinneman says that. She's like, I know you know people who can help you out.
Yeah. So he knows criminals and he knows the criminal world. Just to have like one guy under the keyboard is like one, unless it's like that guy provides him with the memory drives of his son, or maybe So that one's not so. It's one of those things like, oh, of course, it's like the one thing in there.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but still, it's one of those movies where you accept these small little loopholes because it's such a great film and such a great story. Now, Lamar, as brilliant as he is, he couldn't get away with it though, because John's probably equally as smart. And now that he's desperate on the run, he beats pre-crime. And so this great paradox is developed where John takes Agatha out of pre-crime. They escape together. I love the sequence of them on the run in the mall with the umbrella.
Yeah,
behind the balloons.
So good.
It's really clever.
Yeah.
It's very fun. And the whole time he's running, it's like 36 minutes until he has to kill this guy. And he's like, I'm not even going to look for this guy.
There's a moment where he looks at his watch. There's 51 minutes left. And it's like, you're going to kill someone in less than an hour?
But then he looks at his watch another time a little later and he's got like 20 minutes. And then he sees the man in the mirror from in the vision. There's some guy with sunglasses. He's like, we got a third party. And it's just a guy in a billboard.
Doesn't that guy look like Ben Affleck?
I always thought he looked like James Marsden.
Yeah, it looks like Marsden
Cyclops.
or Affleck. Yeah.
And it's a great paradox here because obviously Lamar set these events in motion where he has this man who's going to pretend like he was the killer of his son. He wasn't really Sean's kidnapper and killer. Just pretended to be because he took a deal with Lamar. He's going to get my family money and I'm just going to let this guy kill me. That's how desperate people are in this world. So, but if John never is framed for murder, if he never takes Agatha, and if he never sees that billboard, he would never go inside that building. It's a great paradox because he's seen his future now, but because he's seen his future, he's following the breadcrumbs that he saw in the vision. So if he never saw the vision, would he have followed this path? But that's the beauty of the paradox, because then as Agatha tells him and begs him, you have a choice. You've seen your vision. And this is the great paradox of pre-crime and this concept of one sealed fate that the whole organization depends on, that this has to happen. There's no other trajectory. Because he's seen it, he can change it.
Yeah, when they escape the temple down the chute, and they're like, oh, we got to get after him. What are we going to do? How are we going to find him? And Danny says, it's pointless to even try because we saw it. Agatha's with him in the vision. There's no point in even. Danny's like, there's no point in chasing them.
Yeah.
He doesn't go after them. He's trying to solve the mystery. So because he knows it's futile. Because Danny's a great character.
Wicked smart.
He's wicked fucking smart. He's cool. He's good at his job. He's too good. It gets him killed. It does. But because he understands, Agatha's in the fucking vision. She's gonna be there. There's no point in going. So it's great. I want to talk about one of my favorite sequences. The eye sequence.
Well, hold on. I want to stay. We're in a big moment there.
Yeah, big moment.
Yeah, we're talking paradox here.
Yeah, paradox.
Yeah.
Paradox.
It's a brilliant scene because John sees all the hints from the vision. He sees the laughing old lady. He sees the numbers on the doors.
By the way, did the clerk at the hotel look familiar?
Yes. Who was it?
Pedro Pascal.
Oh my God, was that Pedro Pascal?
Pedro Pascal, one of his first movie roles.
Wow. And it's a clever way to get John to want to murder somebody, because he goes inside that room. He's like, what the fuck? Who is this guy?
I don't even know Leo Crow.
All the photos on the bed, and he finds the photo of Sean. And he says that great lines, for the last 6 years, I've thought of two things. What my son would look like if he was alive today, and what I would do to the man that killed him. I am going to kill this man. It's a really powerful moment because this proves that pre-crime has flaws.
Mm-hmm.
It's not infallible. And you can beat it and you can change it, but also shows that, like I said, pre-crime is built on this conception that there is one fate and that's it. Versus now there's 3 different fates, and even more now if you look at every vision differently. And also, if you, like I said, if you see your vision, you now have free will and you can change it.
Yeah. The knowledge of knowing you're going to commit an act beforehand is what gives you the ability to change that outcome.
And it connects to so many crimes. No one does premeditative murder anymore. Mm-hmm. It's so rare. That's why John's case is so rare, because in 36 hours, he's going to kill somebody. Usually it's a murder of passion.
He says someone's dumb enough to do this within a 200-mile radius.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
him.
And it's him. So they've defeated premeditative murder, but you can beat premeditative murder if you're the perpetrator. If you know your future, will you still commit the act?
And this is when we get the flashback earlier. It's such a great scene of when Sean is taken, because when you're watching this movie, you're like, how did he lose his son at a public pool? Like, what happened? And then the scene's played out so well, where they're playing a game of holding their breath. And it's John's turn, and he gives him the watch. He's like, I'm going to beat that whale. I'm going to beat that whale. And he goes underwater. He's underwater for like not even 10 seconds. Then the watch falls into the water. He comes up. Sean's gone. It happened that fast. And that's where you can see the regret and the grief in him, but also you can't really blame him. You can't say, oh, it was John's fault, which is what Lamar says, what his wife says. It wasn't his fault. It happened. And I think that scene is just so powerful. It's so simple. And you're like, a kid could get taken like that. Absolutely.
And more about pre-crime and paradoxes. It's sort of like the grandfather paradox. If you go back in time and kill your grandfather, how could you have been born to go back in time and kill your grandfather?
Yeah.
It's pre-crime. In order for it to work, the precogs see a future of a murder. Mm-hmm. Then police action prevents the murder from occurring. So, if the intervention succeeds, the murder never happens. So the vision was of a future that did not come to pass, right?
Yeah.
That raises the question. Were the precogs seeing an inevitable event, or merely the most probable path based on current conditions? The film never really fully resolves it, but it leans toward the latter, showing the characters and the system acting as the former is true. Now, pre-crime, every time they successfully arrest somebody, they're using that evidence against pure determinism. And the system only works because free will exists. But in the public eye, they're eliminating free will and using would-be evidence to convict murders.
And minority reports are part of the infallibility of the system that are deleted and covered up.
Exactly, because if an alternate future exists, then the future's not fixed. Yeah. Pre-crime, therefore, is not preventing inevitable crimes. They're choosing one possible timeline and forcibly enforcing that one specific timeline. They're taking the one vision, they're dismissing the minority report, which leads to a different future, suppressing that evidence, which could free somebody from prison. And the existence themselves of the minority reports shows that the system is flawed. In order for the system to function, you have to suppress the flaw.
And they do a great job in the first act of convincing the audience that it is a perfect system with the ball. When Danny's questioning the guys, and then John walks in, grabs the wooden ball, and rolls it across the desk. And it's about to fall. Danny catches it, and John goes, "You caught it. Why'd you catch the ball?" Danny says, "Because it was gonna fall and hit the ground." And John goes, "How do you know?" And then Danny goes, "Because it was gonna do that. That's what they do. That's what happens." Basically, not verbatim. But John's showing the viewpoint of this is going to happen because he believes the Precogs' visions are just as absolute as what they just witnessed of catching a ball from falling. But this is before it's ever revealed that a minority report exists. And when John hears that from Hinneman, that there are minority reports, it shatters his whole belief system about precognition.
And it's not that radical of an idea, especially in our world. Can you not think of institutions, government manipulation, propaganda?
No, I never heard of it.
Algorithms in our day-to-day lives that bury and hide inconvenient data to specific things that they want us to see. Does it not sound like 1984? Does it not sound like Big Brother today? It's obviously contained to pre-crime in this movie, but it's obviously an allegory to going against
Giving the government too much power.
Institutions and power and people of power hiding things from their citizens to control them.
Yeah.
It's obviously a massive metaphor for that, which I love. It's predictive.
Yeah.
It's present. It's in our lives.
Want to talk about the eye scene?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yes, we got it.
All right. No more paradoxes, I promise.
go.
If people are probably like, oh, he's bringing up paradoxes again.
One of the strengths of the movie is its midpoint sequence, and it's the eye sequence. John's world's been shattered, like we just said. He's on this new journey. He has to break in. Hinneman's hits him with all the info. He's like, I have to break into Precog. They're going to scare me 200 miles away before I get anywhere 200 miles within that city. They're going to scan my eyes. And she's like, you know people who can help you out. So he needs to break into Precog. And he has to get new eyes. And he goes to his
breaking into pre-crime.
Pre-crime.
Not precog.
He's breaking into a pre-crime, not a precog. So he goes to his old buddy, Peter Stormare, old reliable, fucking awesome. GOAT supporting actor and everything.
Yeah, he's great.
And this is such a fun sequence because it's gross, it's unsavory, it's uncomfortable. Stormare plays it perfectly. He's this eclectic, strange guy who's both upbeat and positive, but also there's something dark. There's darkness in him for sure. And you don't know if you can trust him or not. And he's slowly revealing, oh, you and I go way back. We go way back. And then he's revealed that, John, I put you away back in Chicago. Put him away. And then he goes off with a story of like when you're standing in the bathroom in prison and there's a guy so big you can't knock him down with a fucking sledgehammer. He's so big. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to know myself better, to experience that. And he's saying that as he's got him in the most vulnerable position possible. His eyes are open. He's sedated. He could do anything to John. And as an audience member, you're like, what the fuck's going to happen? Is he going to like fucking cut him up and shit? And then also we have some great comedy where his partner / assistant is... One thing I love about Tom Cruise movies is they often will show... like women just like showcasing how attractive Tom Cruise is in so many movies. They'll see women just like taken aback or like, so think about like Alan Cumming in Eyes Wide Shut when he's just like goo eyes on Tom.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. And then in this scene, once she sets eyes on him, she's like, oh, what a hunk. And she's squeezing his buttocks and it's really funny. So we got this interplay of gross, disgusting environment, strange characters, something scary is about to happen. You have your eyes taken out of your sockets. And then we go to the sequence of after the surgery, got them done. He's got new eyes. He's got the ropes. That's the kitchen. That's the bathroom. No scratch. Never scratch. Don't open them too soon or you go blind. And the scene that always gets me, he wakes up after his nightmare. This is where we get the flashback of what happened to Sean. And he's hungry. It's been 6 hours. Goes to the kitchen. And there's a beautiful sandwich with some fresh bottle of milk.
You tried to hook him up.
Yeah. And then there's also some raw, on the next level up on the fridge shelf, a rotting sandwich, and then there is rotten milk behind the good milk, and then his
We say
hand
spoiled milk.
spoiled. He slips, goes back to the fridge, reaching blindly, grabs the gross moldy green sandwich, takes a bite, throws it up. I need some milk. He knocks over the good milk, grabs the spoiled milk. It's green. Takes a sip of that. I feel that every time I watch this movie.
Every time.
It's fucking, it makes my stomach turn. It's awful. And then after that, he's going to deal with the fucking spiders. And again, spiders is a great sequence. I love this. I love how the police, they just show up and they're like, guess what? We're invading your homes. It's so dystopian. It's so Orwellian. You have no option, no warrants. They're going to come into your home and scan your eyes, and you have no privacy when it comes to the government. This is why this movie is so deep and has such great themes. And I love the sequence. We already talked about the spiders. Also, great music by John here. Incredible stuff. We already talked about the overhead shot, the oneer going to the apartments. But what's John doing? He knows how they operate. They operate with heat. James is smiling.
There's a cat in the window.
They sound and heat. So he makes an ice bath, drops under the water, and then they go into the room. And now also the police scanner's like, the cat disappeared. The big cat disappeared. Maybe it's somebody who doesn't want to get scanned. And then one of the guys wants to fuck John up because the other guy, he's like, oh, I'm looking forward to seeing John use you as a sandblaster again on a building. Great line. And then this is an iconic image of, he makes a little bubble pops on the surface of the water just as the spiders are leaving. And then one of them turns around and is like, wait.
Well, he's clever.
Yeah.
You know, he knows the spiders hunt by heat, and they're tracking everything by heat. And so he goes into the ice bath.
I said that.
Did you say that?
Yeah. You weren't even paying attention.
I was.
I said they use heat to track people.
But you didn't say he went inside the ice bath.
Yes, I did. I said he went under the ice bath.
Oh.
And I said John's smart. He knows how they operate.
You're doing great, bro.
I literally said that.
Sorry, the cat's distracted.
Yeah, you weren't even listening.
He's meowing through the window.
You weren't even listening. And then they start electrocuting the water. He jumps up. He's like, oh, fuck. Now you're, as an audience member, you're like, is he going to go blind if he reveals his eyes? It's either don't reveal your eyes or you reveal your eyes and then you're blind. And then he reveals the one eye. They scan it and confirmed, not John. Let's eat. Love that scene. I love it.
In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
Yeah.
Line
Anyways.
from the movie. No, it's a great sequence.
I love that sequence.
And I think this structure of the screenplay is just so strong because the second and third act and then the conclusion, terrific, because what happens to John goes back to his wife, their cottage. He gets arrested.
Yeah.
Your main character loses everything.
But then Agatha tells them about Sean.
That's a really sweet
It's
scene.
one of the best moments of the film.
Hearing
so they
about
get
his
to hear,
future,
what he would have been like.
what his life would have been like.
To hear your child's life, who passed away, but to hear what his life would have been like, I think it's a moment where this movie really flies.
Yeah, it's a goosebump scene.
Yeah.
And Samantha kills that delivery.
Yeah.
She's awesome. But you strip everything, all of the hope from your character, who you're just hopeful survives and makes it, and you can figure out and prove the truth, but he gets arrested and put in this psychosis prison. It's a great way to just take everything away from you, like as an audience member. And then obviously his wife saves him, but after that great scene with Lamar,
That's such a good scene.
where he slips up that
I never said she drowned.
that he drowned her. The great moments. I love that sequence.
And then when he says, "We'll chat about this later. Come by the cottage." I'm like, "Oh, he's about to fucking murder her too."
It's a great third act because then John gets out, and during this banquet where Lamar is gonna get showered with awards and praise, John is infiltrating it, calls him up, and I love when Lamar's trying to find him with the earpiece, listening and talking to John, and John's just like unloading all the truths. He figured everything out, all of the betrayals, the murders. Then they project it.
And the precogs are saying it too.
Yeah,
I love how
precogs are
they're
seeing
cutting
it.
between them.
And then the other officer projects it at the event, and we see the crime happening, and we get to see Lamar kill Ann Lively in terrific third act. And then Lamar, same thing. He gets his gun that he gets as a gift for this banquet. He loads it up, finds John outside. A very similar situation to when John was with Leo Crow. And John presents him with like two options. You know, you kill me, it proves that pre-crime works. Pre-crime probably survives and flourishes because of this. If you don't kill me, proves that the system is flawed, and then you go to jail for murder. Great decision here. It's fantastic.
It's like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, $1 million question.
Seriously,
kind of
but
vibes.
it's like, do I save my life and go to jail, or do I save my reputation
and everything I built.
and go to jail for murder? Either way, he's going to jail. But it's like, it's such a fascinating concept that if you don't kill me, you lose. And if you kill me, you lose. No, if you kill me, you win, but you still go to jail. If you don't kill me,
You lose.
You lose, but you lose your reputation, and pre-crime is gone forever. It's fascinating. And then
Go to jail.
yeah, and then what's he do? He kills himself.
Yeah.
Which proves instantly that pre-crime is flawed because pre-crime and the Precogs saw Lamar
Precogs.
kill John. And so the vision was Lamar killing John, and because he saw the vision and knew the truth, or he knew that, what was that? No, what's interesting about Lamar, he didn't see the vision, but he knew.
Yeah.
He knew they saw it.
Because they say they see the ship in the distance. Like, no doubt the Precogs saw this. No doubt.
No doubt.
So then they both, like, even though they didn't see it, they know that this has been predicted.
He knows his future.
Yeah.
So because he knows his future, he can choose a new path.
Yeah.
And it kills pre-crime instantly by killing himself.
Done.
Love it.
Pre-crime disappears.
Disappears.
And it has a happy ending, as many Spielberg movies do.
Yeah.
But they earned it. It was earned happy ending.
Yeah.
And John and his wife are pregnant again. They're expecting again. And Agatha and her brothers.
They're using Neuron so that they can have a precog baby.
Let's make another one. Let's make another precog. And then Agatha and her brothers are living peacefully in a cottage, isolated, far away from anybody. And this implies they don't explain how everything works, but you can imagine that the precogs visions work in the surrounding area. They can see the visions of people in their 200-mile radius, which is why they, in order to nationalize it, they'll probably would have needed more precogs. So, which also explains why if they live in an isolated area, they're able to live in peace without seeing the horrific visions of murder. So I think it's dependent on a certain mile radius around them of what they see.
Yeah, something like that.
It's gotta, because how else would they live in peace?
They never will.
No, it literally says
No, I mean
they lived in peace.
No, they never would if they stayed as
Exactly.
their state.
So they have to be away from other people.
Yeah.
They can't be around other people anywhere near them because that's how they see the visions.
Tom Cruise and Steven Spielberg, they actually waived fees for the film, but what they did take was 15% gross of the box office.
450?
So this movie pulled in over $300 million. It was a pretty big hit.
Oh yeah, I mean that you adjust for inflation.
$350 million.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
And so they both got 15% of that
Nice.
instead of taking a salary.
Rated R?
No, it's PG-13, bro. I'm pretty sure. What would give it an R?
No, yeah, it's PG-13. Yeah, it's got to be.
$100 million budget, $350 million.
That
box
sandwich
office.
gave it an R.
Yeah.
the moldy sandwich.
IMDb it's a 7.6. Letterboxd is a 3.8.
Guys, what are we doing?
Rotten Tomatoes 89% critic, 80% audience. I mean, Letterboxd and IMDb are like exactly the same score. That's interesting. You don't see that every day.
Too low.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fantastic.
I think it's a 9 out of 10.
There are flaws.
Yeah.
There are loophole things
Yeah.
in there.
9 out of 10,
I think it's
though.
terrific, though.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I think it's outstanding for sure.
Fucking awesome, man. It's so good.
Yeah, I like the happy ending as well. You know, like
They
you said,
suffered.
They earned that. And man, this is Spielberg just at the peak of his powers. You know, this is just a fascinating film. It's so original and so unique.
Yeah.
I don't think a movie's looked like this at all since, like, the closest thing that a movie's looked like this, honestly, is like Half-Blood Prince. Because they did a similar chemical bypass process with their film.
And every other Spielberg movie.
No, but like Spielberg, this movie and Half-Blood Prince leaning into the blues though as well. This is a very blue movie.
But it's silvery.
Silvery blue.
Yeah, but like, I mean, the post looks like this. Bridge of Spies, blue and silvery.
But like this is very blue.
Bridge of Spies is very blue and
This
silvery.
is super blue. Like, it looks like I'm in
I'm looking at it right now. I
Blue Man
see
Group
green.
music video.
I see red. I see silver.
It's the
There's a lot of water in this
the
movie.
bluest movie ever made.
You're acting like it's like fucking the music
They
video
took
blue.
blue paint and painted on top of the film stock. It's extremely blue. I love Minority Report. This is such a fun episode to break down this great film.
I've been trying to get James to do it forever.
What are you talking about?
Forever.
Making
For
things
months.
up. Months, my butt.
I can pull up the text.
Pull 'em up.
Let's do Minority
Pull 'em up.
Report.
Search
No,
it.
fuck that movie.
Pull it up. See how many times
All right,
you asked
all right.
about Minority Report.
Also in person too. I said in person. I said
I don't see you in person. What are you talking about? We're not together.
Minority Report.
Let's see. Let's count the times.
Thursday,
Well, Thursday.
June 13th.
Yeah, what did I say? Well, that was like.
You said fuck that movie.
Oh, I didn't. What did I say?
You said bet, but then in person you were like, no, let's not do it.
Well,
We
I
didn't
think it was
do
because Disclosure Day was just coming out, so I didn't want to.
Yeah, I wanted it to be leading into Disclosure Day.
Well, there was something big happening.
That was my
week.
plan.
There's something big that week.
Yeah, sure.
When before that?
And then in person,
No, but there's no other text.
2 texts.
2 texts.
Yeah.
Wow.
But also in
apparently
person,
you've
like-
been asking for me forever about
Months.
this.
That's months.
2 texts.
Months.
Guys, can you believe that? He said
No, also in person, not just
two-
text.
You got any receipts about that?
No, I
got
don't have
any-
any precog receipts.
You don't have any precog visions
No,
of
no,
asking me about
no
that?
precog visions.
Might as well just wrap this up. Wrap it up with a bow.
Wrap it up.
What a great episode. Minority Report. Appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Take care.
See you next time.